When Victor slammed the attic door behind me, I knew I was about to spend the night locked in a closet. I whispered to myself, no more letting him dictate my life. I was 13 when Mom married Victor. He wore a crisp shirt like armor and smiled like he owned the place. At first his promises sounded hopeful. We'll get you organized, we'll keep you safe. By the time he took over my bedroom, safe had turned into something far more sinister. The first week he swapped my simple lock for a heavy sliding bolt and kept the key in his pocket. He'd stand in the hallway, arms crossed, waiting for me to finish homework before he let me out. If I lingered a minute too long, the bolt slammed shut with a metallic clang that echoed through the house. I'd pound on the door, fists bruised, shouting for water or a bathroom break, and he'd stare through the crack, expression unchanged. Mom, exhausted from night shifts at the hospital, slipped a stale cracker under the door and muttered, "You'll learn patience." The punishments kept escalating. One night I forgot to put my sneakers back in the rack, and Victor ripped the hinges from my door. "Privacy is a privilege, not a right," he said, then hauled my mattress down the stairs and shoved it into the basement, insisting the concrete floor would toughen me up. I spent that night shivering on a thin blanket while he laughed. Sure, I'd thank him later when I could handle the real world. School became my only refuge. I threw myself into classes, hoping teachers would notice the bruises hidden under my sleeves. Victor would arrive early to pick me up, briefcase in hand, and tell my teachers I had family obligations. At home he forced me to scrub the garage floor with a toothbrush or sort his tools by size. Miss a spot, and he'd dump the whole pile back on the floor, demanding I start over. The endless humiliation left me exhausted, but the worst part was watching Mom sink deeper into fatigue and medication. When I tried to tell her about the lock, the attic, the chores, she snapped, "I'm too tired for this, just go to your room." The house grew quieter, the only sounds Victor's boots and the refrigerator humming. The breaking point came on a Saturday morning. I was making cereal when I knocked a glass over. It shattered, spilling liquid onto Victor's neatly folded newspaper. He lunged, grabbed my wrist, and my knuckles cracked. "You're a disaster," he snarled. "You ruin everything you touch." Mom appeared in the doorway, eyes glazed, and instead of stepping in she shouted, "Can you at least clean up after yourself?" Victor shook me like a rag doll, his voice rising. "Maybe you'll finally learn respect if you have to survive on your own." Something inside me snapped. I wrenched my arm free, felt the sting of his fingers, and sprinted up the hallway. I flung open the attic window. The cold wind slammed into my face, and I scrambled onto the roof, heart pounding. I clutched the small backpack I'd packed weeks ago, sleeping bag, flashlight, a few granola bars, and leapt down the side of the house. I ran to Mrs. Alvarez's door, breathless and shaking. The elderly lady who always left fresh cookies on her windowsill opened it, eyes widening at my tear-streaked face. I blurted out everything. She called the police, and within minutes sirens wailed down our street. Officers burst through the front door, found Victor still fuming, the attic door ajar, and Mom sitting at the kitchen table, dazed, a half-eaten piece of toast in front of her. Victor was arrested for child endangerment and assault. Mom broke down, apologizing for the years she'd let exhaustion and fear mute her. The court placed Victor in a rehabilitation program and gave me temporary guardianship with my aunt 3 towns away. I spent a few weeks in a safe house, attending counseling that helped me piece together the shattered parts of my confidence. The rescue wasn't cinematic, but it was real. I returned to school with a new purpose, no longer hiding bruises or silencing my voice. My aunt nudged me into debate club and, for the first time in years, I stood in front of a crowd and spoke about standing up against abuse. I learned that silence is a weapon for the oppressor, and speaking out is the first step toward breaking free. Looking back, the attic wasn't just a room. It was the moment I chose to stop being a victim and start being the author of my own story. The lesson I carry now is simple. When someone tries to lock you in, find the window, climb out, and never be afraid to shout for help. Freedom isn't given. It's taken, one courageous act at a time.